down to the mat. So if I could simply drop my knee down here, okay, like for a knee cut, or on the opposite side, drop the knee for a straight hamstring here. This is a very stable position. Why? Because it allows us to form a base with our knee, so we've got something we can put weight on. We can also pin our partner's leg. In this case, if I just relax my foot and let my shin do the work, I can kind of put weight heavy down on this leg, keep Chris down on one hip, and then make it harder for him to extract this leg and use it effectively for attack. Okay, same thing is true for the knee cut. If this knee drops down to the floor and we can sink weight down onto our partner's leg, we can use our weight, okay, especially if our hips are back, to kind of hang out here. We've got a base leg, we've got weight on our partner, we can sit. Then from here, we can work to the inside, or we can lace our partner's leg, we can scoop our partner's leg, we can work for. So all of these things are helped by the fact that our knee is on the floor. One of the challenges that you're going to face, and we're going to be addressing, is your partner wants the opposite. Chris wants to do basically everything he can to prevent my knee from touching the floor. Here you can see that he's done a good job. When you go to knee cut, you're going to often find your partner puts in reverse De La Riva. If they're smart, they're also going to support in the way that he's doing here with a self frame, okay? Either the hand here on the knee or hugging his own leg. This is going to make it almost impossible for us to easily drop our knee into this space. The space is much smaller. Okay, it's very hard to just simply drop and drive through. And then this foot serves as a wedge. It prevents us from easily sliding through. If this foot wasn't here, then we could drop the knee. Again, your partner knows that. So one of the challenges you're going to have to face from this position will be reverse De La Riva. The same thing is true on the opposite side. Just rotate a little this way. Come out this way, please. Same thing is true on the opposite side. If Chris knows what he's doing here, he's not going to simply just let me drop my knee. Instead, he may play a De La Riva guard. The De La Riva makes it harder for us to drop the knee here. As he plays this leg, plays heavy with this leg, we can't just put the knee down. Even if we do clear this De La Riva out and we start to drop the knee down, you'll often find that your partner hugs their own leg, does the same thing with the frames as they did previously. And now from here, we are sitting on our partner. There is weight, but we're not able to get the knee to the floor. As a result, we're not as connected to the mat. That means that our balance and a weight distribution is much more important. If Chris starts to off balance me here because I don't have a knee on the floor, it's much easier for him to move me around. So this is going to be another challenge. So we saw so far that getting close to our partner is one challenge. Another challenge is getting our knee down to the mat. A third challenge is, even if you can do this, you're going to have not just your partner's lower body, but your partner's upper body. So we're going to have to deal with our partner's upper body as well. A strong, robust defense from the bottom is going to look a couple of ways. It can look like this cross shoulder post, which makes it very hard for me to move through, even if my knee does touch the mat, to get the chest-to-chest position that we want. He could be simply posting on this side, on this shoulder here, driving in. Sometimes he can throat post, which even if I can turn my shoulders, makes it very, very difficult, and it can be uncomfortable to start to have to deal with this. If you're able to clear these posts, you'll often find that frames are in the way. Your partner keeps their forearms here across your chest. They can go underneath the armpit. They can take their hands and post on the inside position, blocking your biceps. So as a result, we're going to need to start to talk about ways of pummeling our arms, of clearing frames down, clearing frames out, of managing cross shoulder posts and situations where our partner is keeping our chest from connecting to their chest. So as we start to head into the kind of the job of passing the guard, it's helpful to know what are the key things that we're going to be facing, key issues we're going to be facing. One is that early closing of the gap. Two, once you're there, getting a knee down to the mat. Okay, that's going to be important. And then three, managing your partner's upper body posts and frames, which will allow them to create space. Sometimes they'll look to invert. Sometimes they'll look to frame and sit up. Sometimes they'll use that to off balance you so that your weight is no longer on them. And then from there, they can move and recover their guard. So as we head into passing, we're now going to take a look at some fundamental ways of clearing these issues out so that you can move forward into your techniques and start passing the guard. So now that we've seen some of the major obstacles, let's talk about our major objectives when it comes to dealing with a situation where we're standing and our partner is seated. The first is going to be managing the distance. That means that we want to have good control over the distance so that we can prevent our partner from closing the distance before we're ready. We can prevent our partner from moving too far away from us so they can recover their guard. We want to find a way of stepping, in most cases, to the inside position so that we can take dominant position inside and then work our passing from there. The next thing is we want to make sure that we're winning the grip battle. For much the same reason, if your partner is winning the battle over grips, whether it's at the lower body or at the upper body. So if Chris is standing and I'm seated here, and he is not that aware of what he's supposed to be doing, and I'm coming through and getting all sorts of grips on his legs, and I'm closing the gap, and I'm able to work from here, I can start to become very offensive. Same thing is true at his hands. If he's just kind of leaving his hands out here, and I'm able to get grips on his arms, okay, 1-on-1 or 2-on-1, this is going to make his life much harder. So in a situation where Chris is passing, he would not want me to be winning the grip fight. He wants to win the grip fight himself. Usually that's going to involve him taking top hand position and playing off of 2-on-1s. He's going to want to prevent me from getting these good connections. Okay, so if I'm just kind of advancing forward, coming forward to shin, he's going to want to be very aware of that, and he's going to want to retreat. Maybe he'll want to take his hand post here on my shoulder, making it harder for me to reach to his legs. This is all falls in the same category of distance management and also grip work, right? Grip fighting. We also want to have a sense of using the proper techniques. So as we've discussed already, like technique selection when you're passing is going to be critical. For instance, here, I wouldn't want to try to use a low percentage, high risk technique, something that either is not appropriate for my age or stage, not appropriate for my skill set, not appropriate for my body type, or just generally is a low percentage technique. Remember that a lot of times you'll see people using techniques that are generally low percentage, but they'll still work every once in a while. What we're interested in doing, because as I had said, the swath of guard passing is so huge and the amount of time you spend trying to pass or retain guard is so great that we want to really narrow the field. So is it possible to hit a cartwheel to Chris's back? Yes, it is. But would we want that to be one of these core techniques? Probably not. So technique selection. If Chris is seated, I'm probably not going to try a Toreando pass. Okay. If he's playing kind of a classic butterfly guard here, right, like this, it's going to determine a bit about what I'm going to be trying to do. If he's playing a staggered position here, this is something else. If he's leaning way forward here, take a stagger position here, like this might indicate that he's about to shoot for my legs or that he's going to come. So we would want to assess what our partner's doing and make our selection of techniques based on our partner's posture, not just what we want to do. And then finally, as we've been emphasizing, we want to be able to chain and connect different passes together. So if I begin here with a knee cut and I feel like Chris is doing a really good job backing me out and pushing me out, I want to have the ability to move to an outside chain of passes. If we start in the knee cut, and you'll see this a bunch, and Chris is making life very difficult here, we want to have the ability to move across to our partner's opposite leg and then work from this position. If Chris is really pushing back hard here, we want to have the ability to look to take our legs to the outside once again. And if we feel like our partner is taking double legs on the inside, doing something like a knee cut isn't going to make much sense, but putting weight forward and starting to pummel our legs and moving our body into a floating pass or a tripod will. So we want to have the ability to remain fluid. We want to have a set of techniques that we can use reliably. We want to win the hand fight battle, and we want to be able to manage distance. If you can do these things, then all of the techniques that we're going to discuss in this video are going to be much easier for you to implement. And we're going to cover a little bit more about how you do this in our section on essential skills. So the first essential skill when it comes to guard passing is your ability to grip with your partner establish a dominant grip, and exchange grips with your partner. So engage in hand fighting. We do this in most ranges of work on the ground. Okay, you do it standing. You do it when you're in the guard position here. When you're playing guard, you're hand fighting. When you're standing, you're playing. You're hand fighting. When you're passing, you're hand fighting. So we have to understand kind of what are some of the objectives. I'm going to demonstrate this just from the knees, so that, and then I'll demonstrate it from the feet, so that you can understand and just focus on what we're doing with our hands. But generally speaking, a good rule of thumb is whoever has top hand position is winning the battle. Okay, the reason is because when I control Chris's hands from the top here, it's more difficult for him to use his hands to grip and grab me. All right. If he wants to reach to make a post, I can prevent him from doing that. When we grip, instead of fighting here at our partner's wrists, which is it's not terrible, but it doesn't afford the same level of control, we like to control here at our partner's knuckle line. Okay, so we're using our thumb and middle finger here to get a grip on our partner's knuckles like this. This makes it harder for Chris to pummel his wrists. Okay, if I take a wrist grip here and he circles his arm to the outside, a lot of times I can lose that grip. So when we come forward, when we talk about top hand position, we're talking about a grip where we're holding our partner's knuckles here, and we're not like squeezing the fingers. You will see people in the course of competitive matches grabbing fingers. This is okay. You'll see people playing this kind of mercy game where they're interlacing fingers. Generally, when we come forward, if we're proactive, we want to take a grip and we just want to get this strong grip right over our partner's knuckle line. Okay, this is much greatly superior to gripping just your partner's wrist. If your partner gains top hand position here, you generally want to have a couple of different skills. So if Chris is gripping my wrist, I'm either going to pummel the wrist to the inside or to the outside, depending. Usually here, as a general rule, we track our partner's thumb. If Chris's thumb is facing the inside here, I'll simply turn my wrist so that the blade of my wrist points to the space between his thumb and his fingers here. And then from here, I'll show him or bring my elbow towards his body. Then from here, we can come up over the top. So if Chris wins this battle at the wrist, we're going to bring our thumb towards our chest, and then we're going to go up and over the top to catch our partner's wrist. Now from here, we can slide back to our partner's hands and control the grip. Okay, so one more time. We're here. He gets a grip on the wrist. We turn our elbow slightly towards our partner. We take our thumb towards us, and then we rotate